Can a country that's ranked 75th in the world in football, that hasn't won even an Asia title, that has participated in just one Football World Cup, losing all its group matches, hope to qualify, host and win the Football World Cup in 2050? The recent FIFA World Cup games in Russia attracted a viewership of over 3.2 billion. What was interesting was the overwhelming presence of Chinese brands. Brands such as Vivo, Hisense, Lydia, Lucci, Daikin, Wanda and Menu. Menu's products were advertised in each of the 64 games that was played. And spectators wanting an ice cream had no choice but to take one of Menu's products. Wanda signed up as FIFA's sponsor, the highest possible partnership with FIFA alongside the likes of Adidas, Coca-Cola, Visa and Gazprom. And Vivo paid FIFA $470 million for a 6-year deal. And all of this happened without China even qualifying for the Football World Cup. What made Chinese companies rush in to sponsor the FIFA games? The corruption scandal at FIFA saw the exit of many Western sponsors. The Chinese companies saw an opportunity and rushed in. It is estimated that Chinese companies would have spent an additional $835 million in advertising spend. FIFA, which had lost $369 million in 2016, more than welcomes this. But what made Chinese companies do all of this? The answer inevitably in China lies in the wishes of the government and that of its #1 football fan, President Xi Jinping, who wants China to qualify, host and win a Football World Cup by 2050. This is captured in a note of the Ministry of Sports called Long-Term Football Development Plan that calls for China to have 20,000 training institutes, 70,000 football pitches by 2020, China to host a Football World Cup by 2030 and eventually to win it by 2050. Chinese companies have spent more than $2.5 billion in acquiring stakes in foreign clubs. So much so that the Chinese government has clamped down on this irrational investment because it was impacting the yuan. China is investing in creating its Chinese Super League, its domestic football league, by attracting top-class talent to play there, top-class coaches from around the world, top-class leagues like the English Premier League and the Bundesliga, and clubs like Manchester United and Bayern Munich to set up training academies. It is working with the likes of Adidas to reach out to more than 8 million kids to learn to play football. It's got a training program that will reach out to 20 million kids across 20,000 schools that encourages parents to teach their kids on how to control a football. Technology by means of broadcasting, live streaming, digital services, marketing research, sports training institutes, every possible angle of the sport is being invested in by China. But why is China doing all of this? China sees football as a sport of global influence, a projection of its soft power, its diplomacy, its pride and its prestige. China also wants to diversify its economy. The sports industry in China is worth close to $300 billion and estimated to grow at over 11% to reach over $800 billion by 2025. President Xi wants football to be one of the ways in which the Chinese nation is rejuvenated. While all this sounds good, the road ahead is still very uncertain. Football requires passion, skill, endurance, teamwork, boldness, strength, endurance. It's not clear that Chinese parents will take to this development of football culture ground up that easily. But given the Chinese government's ruthless focus and relentless execution capacities, the odds are about even. Think about this. In 1976 at the Montreal Olympic Games, if anyone had said that China was likely to be the #1 country in the Olympics 32 years thereafter, that person would have been laughed out. For the simple reason that China was not even a member of the International Olympic Committee. It became a member in 1979, in 1980 developed a plan, and in 2008 at the Beijing Olympic Games, China was the #1 country, beating even the US. So when we step back and ask that question, can China win the Football FIFA World Cup in 2050? I think the odds are about even. What do you think?